Well, Danielle Matthew is a marriage and family therapist here in Los Angeles, and she's also the author of The Empowered Child: How to Help Your Child Cope, Communicate, and Conquer Bullying. And Danielle is here with us now to talk about ways to help the kids cope with that bullying. Welcome.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, this has been such an issue really around the country, and often with tragic results. So we're glad that you're here with us this morning to talk about it. And these days, there are so many different types of bullying. When we were young, it was just on the playground, but now with social media, things have really ramped up. So talk to us about some of the different forms of bullying that kids are dealing with now.
Well, like when we were kids, we had the physical bullying where people were hit or kicked or they had bruises. And then there's obviously the verbal where they were calling each other names. And now we have cyber and internet bullying, which is, I'd say in the last 20 years with social media, which is making mean comments about kids on social media sites and taking screenshots of personal conversations and posting them to other people. And then we have the social bullying or relational, which is really leaving kids out, gossiping about them. And that with cyber can actually be together, where they can leave kids out on chat rooms and stuff.
Yeah, so many options there, which is awful.
Yes.
But how would you say that bullying changes as kids go through school?
I think when they're younger, it's probably more physical and verbal, I would say through kindergarten to maybe elementary. And then I'd say towards the end of elementary school, we look at more the social and the cyber going on much more prevalently.
And the big question, how do parents help their kids cope with this?
They can cope in various ways. I have in my book 3 ways called empathy, empowerment, and engagement, which are part of the 3 E's. We empathize with our kids, asking how they feel and not telling them. We ask them how they want to handle the problem, what's a way and an action plan, and then the follow through of that plan. And we really work through our communication. It's a guide for parents to really help them talk about bullying and come up with a solution.
Because it's tough, because sometimes as a parent you want to get involved.
Yes.
However, sometimes that involvement makes things actually worse.
Yes, that's a very good point. It's like re-victimization that happens of a victim. If you get involved, sometimes the bully will be even worse and be more careful and sneaky about how they might hurt a victim. Absolutely.
So you really have to, I mean, if your child is old enough, really communicating with them on how it should be handled.
Yes, and using this communication of the 3 E's is a really good way to help them empower kids to solve the problems, which is really what's important. And I teach that in my program, which is to empower kids and increase their self-esteem and social skills.
And my kids are still a little bit young, but oftentimes we hear about the social bullying that's going on. And I often think, well, why don't the parents just take the phones away from the kids so they can't see it? But is that really not a good option?
You know, we teach the kids who have the social media sites or the phones how to use social media appropriately. And I always tell them they're on a stage. And when you're on a stage, everyone's watching. And I use that as a way to talk about being careful how we communicate on social media. And we really have to just teach appropriate ways. And parents should be looking at all their sites and knowing what's going on and letting them know ahead of time with a contract that you will be looking to see what's going on.
And the other thing that it seems that has changed a little bit is that a lot of the bullying used to happen with boys, but now it seems like girls are doing more of this bullying these days.
Yes, that's a lot of the relational bullying that we were talking about, leaving other kids out. They're your best friend one day, then the next day they don't talk to you anymore. They get left out of going to parties, and they find out they're not part of chat rooms anymore. They're left out, they're being talked about.
So many awful ways to torture children. But thank you so much for joining us,
Thank
Danielle.
you.
And for more information about Danielle and her bullying therapy program called The Empowerment Space, just go to kcal9.com and click Seen on TV.